What's up, guys? It's Migs with Market Open. Let's go ahead and do the Market Open recap. Down 80 bucks today, unfortunately. I'm trying to keep my losses very small, especially during this time of like it's kind of a lull, really. The earnings seasons are mostly over. There are a few companies that are coming out with stuff, but it's usually capped at like one or two. But mostly for earnings season, it's mostly over, so there's really not a lot of catalyst actually coming out. So some of the things that are coming out now are upgrades and downgrades from certain companies, and a lot of the times those things don't carry a lot of weight. So there is not much continuation in the stocks. So let's go ahead and talk about the trades we took this morning. I started off with Citigroup. Citigroup was gapping up on, I believe, an upgrade from an analyst. Let's see here. Upgraded. Yeah, so it was an upgrade from some different analyst, and it was gapping up a little bit. So here on the 1 minute, I'll show it to you guys as I saw it here. So it pulled up very strong, pulled back to the moving average, and pulled back again, and basically an ORB pattern here. Break over 70.35. It actually ended up not working out and didn't go to 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 or anything. So I meant to initially do 500 shares because this is such a large float stock that it doesn't really move that much. So I had to take a large amount of shares. So got in at 70.41 and then the other 400 at 70.38. Ended up, let's see here, right here, getting kicked out at 720 or 70.20. So let's see here. I think it pulled back here. And as it went back up, it still didn't reach my 1-to-1 because remember my entry was right around here at 70.35. So what I did is I pulled my stop back up here, and as you can see, it sold off and it kicked me out. And right there, right here in this candle at 942. So right here at 942. Now, my good trade for the day was CONN. It was one of my main candidates for a short this morning. Now, CONN was gapping down on earnings, and it had a pretty good daily. So, let's see here. Let's go candle by candle. So, pulled up just like I like to see them. There we go. So, pulled up. And right around here, I like to take things under the 9 or as they're breaking the 9. So, right here in this area, I was probably looking at 31.40, but it kept going sideways and it kept holding this. So I was thinking to myself, if it breaks this, it failed to go over the 32 mark. So if it breaks here at 31.50, it should go. So I believe I got filled there. So right around, I got filled at 31.60. It looks like it dipped and it came back up and I got filled. I got a decent fill on that with my stop here being at 32, so 200 shares. And right after that, it immediately tanked. So that's usually what's supposed to happen. And I took 150 shares here at 31.15 at my 1-to-1. And let's see, I left another 50 shares out. So let's see here. Right here at 30.50, I wanted to, as it was pulling back to VWAP, I wanted to add to the position. I saw right here that it was holding at 30.50. So I wanted to add as it was breaking through. So I shorted it, added another 50 shares right at 30.50, kind of bringing my average down to 31. And so at that point, it started actually pulling back to VWAP. Let's see here. So let me scroll down some. Started pulling down to VWAP. I shorted another at 30.75. So right up here, it was right at 954. So right here in this candle. So you can see it went through VWAP, and I wanted to short it as it was coming back down. So right at 30.75, I was going to set my stop right here at 31.25. So at that moment, I had about 200 shares. Let's see here. What was that? 954. Yeah. So I had 200 shares. I went ahead and held that. I think actually my initial stop was going to be up here at high day because I really didn't have that many shares, and I had a pretty good average. So after it started tanking, then that's when I moved it down here to 31.30. So as you can see here, it broke the 30.50 mark. And after it broke the 30.50 mark, it was basically all the way down to 30. So I had, let's see here, 200 shares, and I went ahead and covered 150 right at 30, what was it, at 30.80. Wait, no, hold on, I shorted another 150, that's what it was. Shorted another 150, so 100, 150, and then I went ahead and covered 250 down here at 30.10. So during that time, I actually accidentally covered at right at 30.10 down here, which actually ended up being a good thing because it ended up bouncing and it actually ended up coming higher. But my target was going to be 30, and my exit would have been probably somewhere up here at like 30.50 or so. Now, Ollie is the next trade I took. So Ollie and CONN were my main candidates for a short, so I had them side by side. It's just that Ollie actually ended up not working out because right at the very beginning, it was going everywhere. And with something like this, you could initially take it under the low and have a stop up here, so it'd be a dollar stop. But it actually ended up spiking higher. So it spiked all the way up to 59, and so that kind of changed my mind on it collapsing. So I just kind of kept waiting. The 200 moving average on Ollie was right here at 58, so I had to keep a note of that. Now, kind of kept watch on it, and it just kept fading. So instead of going under the lows here at 57.09, I didn't have a good stop, so I just didn't take it because it had flashed up all the way to 59, and that kind of told me that it wasn't clean, so I didn't take it. So I waited for the pullback. So as you can see, right around there. Let me zoom out. I believe I took it on the I took it on the 5-minute here. So I shorted it right at 10:07. So 10:05. So right here in this candle. So usually I wait for it to pull back to the moving average into VWAP. Next candle make a new low. So it was a fake out. So it dipped under. I got triggered and I got kicked right out right in the same candle. So in at 56.30, I got kicked out at 56.90 3 minutes later. Then I waited for it to actually go through VWAP, get rejected. So this is a upside down hammer here. Now next, sorry. All right, so next candle make a new low should be your entry. So shorted it again, came right back up. So Ollie shorted at, so let's see here, 10:15. So right here in this candle, covered right at 56.70. I really didn't like what it was doing. It was kind of going back and forth. I ended up losing 12 bucks on it, so not a big deal. On the name Ollie, I lost $132 for the day. Also, I opened up a position on VXX. There we go. So I knew that we had to close the gap on VXX. I actually ended up taking it on the 5. So let me show you guys. So SPY. So we gapped up this morning. We had a gap to close. And right around here. So 5-minute. Right in here. Alright, so we went up, tried to go up. We failed, made a low, came back, made a lower high. And right here. So just made a lower high, extend to the right. And as it was crossing this 265 here, I was thinking if it breaks this pivot, we should start heading down lower, which in that correlation, that means that this is the, what was it? This is the high of the day. Actually, no, this is the low of the day because it's the opposite of the SPY. So then my call was somewhere around here at 48.45. So I got filled on VXX right at 48.45, 250 shares. My stop is going to be down here at the last pivot at 48.07. So went long and kind of started just going back and forth, climbed up over it, but at that point, we actually started heading higher with a lot of volume on the SPY. So it was just at the click of a button, basically, it just this one candle just started heading way higher and with this candle. So there was definitely a lot of buying, institutional money coming into the market right here during this time, which in correlation brings the VXX down. So making lower highs, so lower high, lower high, lower high, um, most of the times you will start heading lower, but just in these two candles, there was a lot of buying, which kind of kicked me out right out of VXX. Ended up taking a $97 loss on that. Let's see, I took a trade on SU. SU was something that was not on my watch list this morning. It was just a simple flag pattern, so I missed the first one, and right here was the second one. So this is kind of sloppy. I probably would not have taken this because it's too many candles for it to pull back. It pulled right back to the moving average, and the next candle make a new high. But I typically don't like more than 5 candles pulling back. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is like 11 candles pulling back. That's just, I know it seems a little weak. Although it did end up working, and you could have made some money on this definitely, but it's really not my cup of tea. So I waited for the second pullback here. It held the 9. Next candle making a new high. I got in with 1,000 shares right at. I got filled right at 36.36. Very next candle, well, next 3 candles within 15 minutes or so, I got kicked out. My stop was here at 36.29. So there was absolutely no follow through on this. Let's see here. Then I took a trade on Citigroup. So Citigroup was actually on my list this morning. And right here, I believe. So this morning, it wasn't really doing much. It was kind of going sideways. But as the market started heading higher, then I started switching over from looking at my shorts to looking at the longs. So now, during this time, right in here, there is no entry for you to get into. So there's no point in me just like jumping in and hoping it kind of works. So in this instance, you have to wait for a pullback. So waiting for the red candle pull right back to the 9. Then I'm waiting for a green candle to hold the 9, which would be this one. And then next candle would be entry over the high of this candle. So there, I went in 500 shares long right at 70.60. So right here, my stop was going to be here, right at 70.48. And I got out right here at high a day. My initial target for 1-to-1, I reached it, but since I was only really risking 50 bucks on that. But I wanted my target to be 70.80, and I got extremely lucky. I just put out an order at 70.80. It flashed up, and it actually ended up getting me out. So that loss that I took earlier was kind of erased, and now I'm green on the name. So I believe that was the last trade I took. So only down $80 on the day. It's been relatively slow. If you guys have noticed, or if you guys have been following me for a while, you've noticed that the watch lists have gotten relatively smaller. It's just there's really not that many things to play right now, and there's not a lot of follow through. I've heard multiple people say exactly the same thing, and especially during these times is when you have to try and pull back a little bit, and if you're still trading, make your losses smaller. And if there's not anything for you to play or nothing that's setting up correctly, just don't play it. Most of the things that I took today, well, actually, all the things that I took today seemed really good. The patterns were there. The market was there during the time that I did it. So, you know, it was kind of a 50-50 shot today. It's just I lost a little bit of money. It does happen, but I'm trying to make these red days relatively smaller than when I actually have green days. So there's really not a lot of plays right now in the market, and just have to be careful out there right now. So just kind of floating along with the lull and as soon as the market starts picking back up and there's actually some good news or bad news on some of these stocks, then we can start leaning back into it. But as of right now, you just have to be really careful. Yeah, so that'll be the recap for today. If you guys have any questions, make sure to put it down in the comment section below. If you guys traded anything different than what I traded or I have up here on the watch list, make sure to put it down in the comment section below. I'm curious to see what you guys have traded. Also, if you guys have not joined our Facebook group, make sure to do that. It's completely free. I put out the watch list every single morning for you guys to be able to profit off of. We're almost to 7,000 members. Also, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button and the little bell will give you a notification next time I put out a new video. Alright guys, I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.